I'll now call to order the special called meeting for September 16th, 2025. And I'll ask Commissioner Edwards, would you lead us in the pledge to the flag? We need a motion to adopt the agenda. Do we have a second? All in favor? Okay, that motion passes.
And we do have a need for executive session for the purpose of pending and potential litigation.
Okay, could I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Okay, the motion passed. So we are in executive session. We need to reconvene and to move into our regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Okay, the motion's approved. So we are back in session and the executive session is adjourned. Good evening. I'd like to call the September 16th, 2025 regular meeting of the Newton County Board of Commissioners to order. Commissioner Henderson. I'm sorry, my clock is wrong up here. Now we'll call the meeting to order, and I'd like to ask Commissioner Henderson, would you have our invocation, and followed by Commissioner Edwards, would you lead us in the pledge again? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Would everyone bow their heads, please? Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come before thee with thanksgiving in our hearts. We come just thanking for just being God and being God all by himself. I mean, I know that you look down on us and we look up on high, and we just come at this Board of Commissioner meeting to say thank you. Thank you, God. Just thank you for allowing us to do another Moore County business. We love you and we thank you. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
I'll ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor? Okay, thank you. We do have one of our commissioners who is participating through Zoom tonight, and that is Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Mason is also on Zoom tonight. Now we'll have public comments. The time to allow the public to comment, voice concerns, or opinions regarding agenda topics only. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. Please speak directly into the microphone and begin by stating your name and address. Do we have anyone who would like to make any comments tonight? Okay, well, that part of our agenda is closed then.
Madam Chair, at this time, we were supposed to have a report under the chairman's report for State Representative Ms. Henderson. Unfortunately, she's not present at this time, so we will have to revisit that at a later time, possibly after our hearings. But we can move forward to number 6, to the county manager's report. Mr. James Brown.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Now we have the consent agenda. Need a motion for the to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? All in favor? Thank you. That passes.
Madam Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is going to be under new business. We have item number 8, which is consideration of the Alcovy Judicial Circuit Intergovernmental Agreement, or IGA, of employment and compensation of court reporters and substitutes for court reporters for the Superior Courts of the Alcovy Judicial Circuit. We have Judge Ken Wynne, our Chief Judge. He will be doing the presentation for this.
Judge Wynne?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have presented a proposed intergovernmental agreement between Newton County and Walton County to facilitate the compensation of the 5 official court reporters for the judges of the Superior Courts of the Alcovy Judicial Circuit, by which the court reporters were restructuring the compensation to pay them a base salary instead of paying them a per diem for court attendance and takedown of proceedings in criminal cases. And this intergovernmental agreement will help facilitate that by providing that Walton County shall serve as the fiscal agent to pay them, subject to reimbursement from Newton County.
Do we have a motion? We have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Thank you, Judge Wynne.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And so you'll sign this. Will be 2 originals, one to go to Walton, one to be on file here, and then one to go to Walton County for signature.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, at this time, if you'd like to utilize the chairman's courtesy, we can call forward State Representative Ms. Sharon Henderson to come forward at this time.
Representative Henderson?
Madam Chair, we actually have a resolution this evening as well as an award for our Commissioner for District 4, Commissioner J.C. Henderson. State Rep Henderson, did you want me to read the resolution for you?
No, ma'am. I have it right here. Well, thank you, though. Thank you for. Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Sharon Henderson, District 113. Good evening, Chairwoman Linda Hayes, and all the commissioners. I came tonight to present an Outstanding Georgia Citizen Award to none other than Commissioner J.C. Henderson. Can we give him a hand? Madam Chairman, if you so please, I would like to have Commissioner J.C. Henderson and his wife to stand beside me. I know I have 3 minutes. I believe it's fitting and proper, and this is how I always present the awards, if you don't mind.
Commissioner Henderson.
Mr. Henderson and Sandy Henderson, is she here? Okay. Okay, Commissioner Henderson, commending you as Commissioner of Newton County. Whereas Commissioner J.C. Henderson was elected by the citizens of Newton County on November 5th, 1996, to represent the 4th District of the Newton County Board of Commissioners, beginning a career of dedicated public service that has spanned nearly 3 decades. Whereas upon his election, he completed all courses required by the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia to become Certified County Commissioner. He has continued his education annually through the University of Georgia, Carl Vinson Institute of Government. And Commissioner Henderson, with your wife Sandy by your side, as always, down through the years, we thank you for being a man of God. We thank you for being a man of faith. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We honor you. And most of all, we love you. In 30 years, no one could stop you from doing the right thing for the people of Georgia. Let this night go down in history. First time in 30 years, Commissioner to receive an Outstanding Georgia Citizen Award. Therefore, I present you with the highest award in the state of Georgia from the Secretary of State's office, Brad Raffensperger. I give you an Outstanding Georgia Citizen Award to Commissioner J.C. Henderson. Can we give him a hand? Okay. Madam Chairwoman, is it okay to stand?
Oh, sure.
Commissioner Henderson was requesting that the commissioners take a group photo, if you didn't mind. So if we can just have them stand behind the banister so that we could do a group photo, please, for the commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're going to call our Sheriff Ezell Brown to the podium. We are on number 9. The next item we're going to address is consideration of the Mission Construction LLC Construction Services Agreement for a jail pod roof replacement, maintenance, and repairs. Funding source is capital improvement. It is budgeted. The cost $81,400. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Madam Chair, and those of you that make up this board, good evening. It's good to be here. As stated, this particular item is already in the budget, so we're just here today for, I guess, formality.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Okay, second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next person on the agenda is our Director of Finance, Ms. Brittany White. Consideration of a Gaithers budget amendment transfer for structural repairs for Harris Springs Church and the Pavilion, $50,000. It is budgeted.
Thank you. So tonight we have a budget amendment before you to do a budget amendment to the Gaithers Fund budget. So this is recognizing $50,000 worth of prior year fund balance to utilize for the repairs, and then it will go into repairs and maintenance for buildings. Are there any questions?
Okay, do we have a motion?
Well,
Second?
second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had thought prior, maybe not this year, that we had talked about how well Gaithers was doing, and that it could possibly, fund the maintenance and operation out there. So I'm just trying to figure out why we having to take money from, I guess, from if it's fund balance or general fund from the county and spent on Gaithers.
This is not general fund balance. This is Gaithers fund balance. So
Okay.
they did have a balance they carried forward, so we're taking it from that.
Okay. And one last question: how much more money do we have at Gaithers?
The fund balance amount prior to this budget amendment was roughly $150,000.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Madam Chair, the next item we have on the agenda is going to be presented by our county attorney with Gerard and Davis, Ms. Molly, and it is consideration of the City of Social Circle annexation of property known as tax parcel 0132001E, and it's located at 1279 Cannon Drive. The request to be annexed is for the purpose to develop a data center. The deadline for this is actually, or was actually today, and no public hearing at this time.
Thank you. So, Commissioners, this is an annexation that we received from the City of Social Circle. On your screen, you will see the property at issue, which is just over 41 acres. A portion of that property actually falls in Walton County as well. And so the notice of annexation contemplates that the property will be used as part of a bigger development involving more parcels than just the one highlighted on your screen for purposes of a data management or processing center. The property is currently zoned agricultural and is proposed to be rezoned to light industrial under the city's standards. And as I had provided to you, there is a resolution for your consideration to object to the proposed annexation, and if approved, our office would transmit the letter of objection substantially in the form that is attached to the resolution to the city, notifying them of your objection, as well as to the DCA to initiate the arbitration procedures. So if you would like to object, I would just ask that you make a motion to approve the resolution objecting to the annexation.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution for the annexation rejection that we have before us.
Is there any discussion? Commissioner Henderson?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, you know, we've had a few meetings, I think, possibly in executive session. I think we've had a few meetings. And during the course of the meeting, we talked about the annexations, and there were discussions that would talk about it that myself personally, and I talk about me, was maybe not included. And I think that in order to have a robust discussion about whether we do or don't want the annexation, I think that each commissioner or sit around this board should be informed. Maybe we should have a work session of sort. Maybe we should be in an executive session. But we did not have that, as far as from my perspective. And it's hard to make a decision with this opposed annexation when I don't have the information. And so I just don't feel comfortable making a decision on annexation and social annexation when the whole discussion I was not a part of. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The discussion? All in favor? Cooper? Okay. All opposed? Okay. Commissioner Cooper was on that vote. So that passes. That motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're going to move into number 12, being presented by Acting County Manager, Mr. James Brown. It's for discussion and consideration, C2I change order number 2 to the professional services agreement for RFP 22-19 for Cornish Creek Water Treatment Facility, and it is budgeted. cost $11,515.34.
Mr. Brown?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. This was a change order from an already approved contract we had with C2I. This project was $264,000, and we had a change order because some wiring did not match the blueprint that staff had, as well as the integrator had. So this was the additional work that was needed to get the accurate wiring in place to proceed forward.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So move.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we're going to take a 9-minute recess before our public hearings start. They are scheduled to start at exactly 7:30, so we will just take a 9-minute recess and then reconvene at 7:30.
Okay, thank you. So we will be in recess until 7:30. We're now back in session.
Madam Chair, we're going to ask Ms. Applewhite to come forward to begin the public hearing.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, members of the Board of Commissioners. All right. All right. Our first petition this evening is a conditional use permit. It is CUP 25-000008. The proposed user intent is to operate an auto sales dealership in the Salem overlay. It's located at 3198 Salem Road, and it's on 1.17 acres. The tax ID is 0012167A. The future land use is a development node. Current zoning is highway commercial, Salem overlay tier 2. Character area is a live-work corridor, and this character area supports both the flume and the zoning mentioned previously. Watershed is the Yellow River. It's located in Commissioner District 3. Owner is Conyers Car Care Center, Inc., and our petitioner is Yasser Hanna from Top Deals Automotive. And just a brief history. On 7/22, the Planning Commission meeting was canceled. On 9/4/25, the Planning Commission recommended denial by a vote of 3-1. The district board member, Mr. Crawford, inquired if the applicant had any intentions to expand the existing office building on site and if there were any relation to the adjacent business, which is the Conyers Express Car Care at 3200 Salem Road. The applicant answered he did not intend or had no plan to modify the existing office building and that his business was unrelated to the neighboring business. There was no public opposition to this petition. This is just a brief site plan analysis. So it is located on the east side of Salem Road. The existing office is currently 1,800 heated square feet. There's a parking lot for 80 spaces. It was originally developed in 2001 as an automobile dealership. It used to be Gen Motors. They stopped the operation during COVID, and in 2022, GDOT purchased a portion of the property for the Salem Road widening project. And with that, they lost some parking spaces, I think about 34 parking spaces. So these are some of the things that caused them delays from continuing the business within a 12-month period. So there are commercial uses to the north, south, and the west sides, and there's multifamily residential uses to the east side of the property. There's also a fence running along the north, east, and south property lines. With regards to the buffers, we have buffers. You can see the tree line buffers to the south and east of the building. There's also a detention pond located in the rear. And GDOT has taken a 50-foot easement, again, for the Salem Road widening. And for all intents and purposes, the proposed site plan, it meets or exceeds the requirement of the Newton County Unified Development Ordinance. This is the applicable section, which is included in your staff packet, so I won't read through it, but it is section 510-105 for automobile sales and rental. In conclusion, given that the subject site was developed in 2001 to be an auto sales dealership and was in operation up until COVID, staff is of the opinion that the new auto sales dealership is appropriate for this location. Staff recommends that should the Board of Commissioners recommend approval of the conditional use permit request to operate an auto sales lot in the Tier 2 of the Salem overlay, then the approval be with the recommended conditions. So should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for an auto sales dealership, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. So it's 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards and regulations. A record service, salvage, abandonment, or demolition, recovery, or repossession of automobiles and trucks and temporary storage of said vehicles are prohibited. B, any outside speakers shall be located at least 250 feet away from any residential district and meet the Newton County Noise Ordinance. C, a buffer and or fence must be maintained in accordance with Newton County Zoning Ordinance. D, all outdoor lighting must be downcast cut-off luminaires. E, they must obtain and maintain a business license. F, prior to the release of said business license, they must provide a copy of an approved fire inspection from Newton County Fire Marshal to Development Services. G, limit the number of total occupants to the occupancy load set by the Newton County Fire Marshal. H, any renovations or additions to the outside of the building must be in accordance with the Salem Overlay Architectural Standards. And I, prior to any construction, addition, or removal of walls, the applicant must apply for all required permits. So this is the current location of the dealership. Just to give you some perspective, this is Old Salem Road where the Synovus Bank used to be. There's a veterinary clinic here. This is the dealership across here, and there are similar commercial businesses in the vicinity. This is the multifamily we were referring to. That is to the right, to the rear of the property, and single family here. So we have our zoning. So it's all highway commercial along the Salem corridor, and you have office institutional on this side, and of course residential and multifamily over here. It is in the Salem Overlay Tier 2, which is the yellow band running along the Salem corridor. Flume Development Node. It's in the Yellow River watershed, located in Commissioner District 3. So this is the street view of the current building, and this is kind of an older view taken from Google Maps. These are the current interior pictures of the building. And of course, this is just a close-up of what the building used to look like. This is the survey that was provided by the applicant. And this is the concept plan. So GDOT has taken like 50 feet in for this easement here for the Salem Road widening. So they've lost some parking spaces there. But this area here is where the inventory will be stored. We have the existing office building. And of course, just showing the GDOT easement. If there are any questions for staff, if not, Madam Chair, this is a public hearing, and I believe the applicant is here.
Okay, we'll now open the meeting for the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There'll be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
I almost feel like it should be on a recording. John Nix, 945 Bank Street, Madam Chair, members of the board. A late arrival for this applicant. I was not at the Planning Commission meeting. I'd like to stress that we're here for a conditional use permit for the subject property. The history of the property is interesting. In 1987, it was zoned highway commercial. In 2001, as the director said, it was legally permitted the use of an automobile dealership. That use was interrupted by COVID. Subsequent to COVID, GDOT came along and said we need some property, and they acquired the property depicted in the drawing that you saw a moment ago, and it reduced the number of spaces that were allowed from 80 to 46 for showing inventory. The photographs on the left of the interior, those are recent photographs. The interior, which is 1,800 square feet, was built by Ginn Motor back in 2001 and remains in really good shape based on its age. And the exterior photo was actually, is older, but shows what the site looks like close up than the photos that were available before. I know y'all are aware that in a special use permit situation, there are really three things that staff has to look at and what the code requires that you consider. The first one is we've got the proper zoning to have this use here. We just have the added step up of having a conditional use permit and have to meet the criteria. She specified, showed the criteria, it's 5, and the applicant meets those 5 today. And of course, if they continue the use, if you grant the special use permit, they'll have to continue to meet those 5 criteria. The second thing you have to look at is whether or not we meet the Salem tier overlay requirements, and we do. The appearance of the building certainly doesn't meet the criteria, but under your code, because that building was built prior to the requirement, unless they do 25% or more changes to the construction of the building or add-ons or improvements, it remains a legal non-conforming building. So we meet the criteria there as far as the overlay. The final thing is we have to meet the criteria of a special use permit, and a special use permit and that criteria is very different from a zoning analysis. And really, under your criteria and typical for a special use permit, the whole issue is because we have to get a special use permit, we're considered to be a little bit more intense than the normal use allowed under the highway commercial. So there's 12 criteria, and I'm not going to go over each one of them, but primarily, are we going to have an environmental impact? Are we going to have an impact on historical structures or facilities? Are we going to create a more adverse use as to our neighbors? Well, to our left, right, and front, it's commercial use on a fairly active road, Salem Road. To the rear, we have literally an undisturbed buffer because it's grown up so much over the 20 years the property's been there between us and residential. And under the code, we really only have to have a opaque fence or opaque buffer, so we have that. Our use, and we're good with the conditions imposed by the staff. We'd even add a condition that we'd only operate from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night. So it would limit our use as far as impacting anybody. And the rest of the impacts are whether we're going to create dust, noise, odors from our site. Well, that's not going to happen to the degree it would be intense as to our neighbors. So when you look at all 12 criteria for a special use permit, when you look at the overlay requirements, when you look at the 5 criteria that we meet, I would urge you to consider the recommendation, well, not recommendation, they feel that the requirements have been met and that it is an appropriate use of the site. And we would urge you to follow that recommendation and the analysis provided. I'll stand for questions if you have any. There was no opposition at the Planning Commission, but I would like to reserve my time in case there happens to be opposition this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor?
That portion of the hearing is now closed. We'll now hear from those opposed to this request. All those opposed to the request are also invited to come and address the board, and you will also be given a total of 10 minutes for speaking in opposition. If you'd like to come forward, please state your name and address for the record. That portion of the hearing has now closed.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I have a question from Ms. Alloway.
Okay.
Ms. Alloway, was this a call out before? You stated it's approved back in 2021?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, could you repeat the question?
I said, was this a call out previously?
It was, yes, sir.
All right. With that said, I'll approve the motion to approve CUP 225-00008 with the condition use permit, and also include the special condition. And also, if it changes hand, I would like for it to come back before the board.
Do we have a second?
Would that be with staff recommended conditions, Madam Chair? Would the motion to approve be with staff recommended conditions? Okay.
That's what, yes.
And just so I'm clear, is the added condition that you're saying that you would like it to come back to the board if it's to change hands from the applicant?
Right.
For a,
Yes, applicant hands and usage.
okay.
Okay.
What time? I'm sorry. Did you hear that?
Yeah, we have it in the petition.
Okay, so do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. So that motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our second petition this evening is a rezoning. It's REZ 25-000002. This came before you in the form of two companion cases. It was a daycare, so we had the overlay tier change, which is the OTC 25-0001 you see up here. And now then we also had, and now they're coming before you for the rezoning and a conditional use permit. So the proposed use is to rezone the property from R2 to CN to operate a child daycare center with 7+ children. It's located at 5242 Salem Road, tax ID 0028019. The parcel is 5.41 acres. Future land use map is a development node. The existing zoning is single family residential, R2. The proposed zoning is neighborhood commercial. It is in the Salem overlay tier 2, which is moderate commercial. The character area is the established suburban core, which supports the flume and the proposed zoning. The watershed is the Yellow River. This is located in Commissioner District 4, and our owner and petitioner is Gladys Lee. And again, just a brief history. In February of this year, the Planning Commission approved the petition for an administrative use permit, AUP 24-000023, to allow an in-home child daycare facility for up to only 6 children. On May 27, the Planning Commission recommended approval of an overlay tier change of OTC 25-0001 by a vote of 2-2, and it was broken by the chairman. And the request was to change the property's overlay district from the Salem Tier 1 residential to Tier 2 moderate commercial. So this was approved by the Planning Commission. And then on June 3rd, the Board of Commissioners approved the same overlay tier change. On July 22nd, the Planning Commission meeting was canceled, and it was held again in September 4th, where the Planning Commission recommended approval of the current rezoning, REZ 25-000002. And that was by a vote of 4-0. There was no public opposition. There were, however, several citizens who spoke in favor of the daycare. And again, they're rezoning the daycare to move from an in-home daycare to a commercial daycare center where they can have more than 6 children. The applicable section is section 510-210. This is included in your packet, so I won't read through all the requirements. So the site plan analysis, staff would offer the following considerations. So currently it is a residential use until it's rezoned for a commercial daycare, should the board grant that. There's residential uses to the north, east, and the west of the property. It is also directly across Salem Road from the South Salem Elementary School. Currently, there's an in-home daycare located on the subject site. The existing square footage of the home is 3,293 square feet. The picture shows the access drive. It's approximately 275 feet in length and 30 feet wide. And at the top of the drive, it allows 8 to 9 cars to be parked. So that would get the cars out of the Salem Road traffic when they do come to drop the children off. There's already a 4-foot fence enclosure at the back of the property. So the floor plan, as you will see later on, it shows 4 of the rooms that are being used currently: the family room, 2 bedrooms, and a dining room, which are being used for offices and, of course, rooms for the daycare. And there are also 3 bathrooms, a kitchen, walk-in closet, and a screened porch where the toys are stored. In conclusion, staff is of the opinion that the proposed rezoning to neighborhood commercial may be appropriate for this area based on similar adjacent uses. The rezoning will be consistent with the policies and intent of the comp plan and with the Salem Tier 2 moderate commercial overlay. Additionally, the flume category is a development node which supports the neighborhood commercial zoning district. The applicant plans to convert the home to a commercial daycare space to serve the needs of the community. Recommended conditions. Should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved neighborhood commercial, conditional, and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, These conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. So 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, compliance with Division 460, which is the Salem overlay of the Newton County zoning ordinance. B, limit the number of total occupants to the occupant load set by the Newton County Fire Services. C, any residential uses must cease with the new commercial daycare. D, provide a copy of the right from the start state license for the subject location to development services before any business license can be issued, and to maintain the right from the start state license while in operation. E, provide a sprinkler inspection to the Newton County Fire Services and Development Services, and the inspection must be approved prior to the release of a business license. F, complete an annual fire inspection from Newton County Fire Services. G, maintain compliance with Section 510210 of the Newton County zoning ordinance. H, prior to any construction, addition, or removal of walls, the applicant must apply for all required building permits. I, they must have an approved play area surrounded with a 4-foot-tall fence before the issuance of a business license. J, provide appropriate ingress and egress to be approved by GDOT. K, obtain environmental health approval before the issuance of a business license as applicable. And I, there is no farm animal or petting zoos allowed on the property without the appropriate permit. So here's an aerial view of the property. So it's this one here with a star on it. We have the school just across the road. Current zoning is R2 single family residential. The overlay tier was as approved by the board. It's now Salem Overlay Tier 2, which is moderate commercial. Current flumes of development node. It's in the Yellow River watershed, located in Commissioner District 4. Character areas established suburban core. So we have the surveys provided by the applicant, and this is a floor plan as provided by the applicant for the current layout of the property and the rooms in the daycare. And this is a photo leading up from the drive, from the Salem Road looking towards the home in the driveway. This is just the yard space. We're showing the fenced areas. This is already fenced in for the children's safety. These are pictures of inside the daycare, different rooms in there, because it's currently an in-home daycare right now. And of course, this is the covered porch where there's storage, and we have the play area in the backyard that is fenced in. And if there are any questions for staff, Madam Chair, if not, this is a public hearing.
We'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There will be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, good evening. My name is Gladys Lee. I'm the owner of the property at 5242 Salem Road. And I come before you all this evening. I've been before you a few times in reference to rezoning the property to make it commercial, I guess, so that I could have more children. It's only been approved by the fire marshal and environmental health for about 30 kids right now. So that's, 30 people. That would include staff. So that's about 20 more kids than what I currently have. I have 6 right now is what they allow for it being in-home. I've been doing in-home or family child care for about 18 years in my main house, which is about 5 minutes from that house. And I currently live there for the in-home daycare until, the final approval where I'll move back home and continue doing daycare from there. So pretty much, I was just trying to rezone the property to make it commercial, to have 7 more kids, 7+ kids. And that's it for the rezoning. That's it. Okay.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor?
At this time, that portion of the public hearing has now closed. We'll now hear from the opposing party, if there be any. All those opposed to this request are also invited to come and address the board. There will be an additional 10 minutes for those speaking in opposition. If there is, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. There are none opposed, so we can close that portion of the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
This is District 4, Madam Chair.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. You know, it's good that people will take out time to take care of other people's kids, and if my memory serves me right, I think there might be some special need kids also attending at home.
Yes, yes, sir.
And I was really church by that the last time that we talked about it, and I think it's wonderful to enlarge your business so you can take in more kids, because some kids, maybe one or two in my family, are special needs. And I tell you, it takes a special person to put up with those kids sometimes, and they have to have somebody. So me having said that, you know, and you see home daycare centers everywhere, I like to make a motion to approve with the staff recommendations, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Okay, that motion carries. It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next petition this evening is actually the companion case to the one we just heard. It is a conditional use permit for the same daycare. This is due to it being in the Salem overlay as well, it being a commercial use. So it is CUP 25-000009, and of course the companion cases would be the overlay tier change, OTC 25-00001, and the rezoning that was just approved, REZ 25-000002. And again, it's the Child Daycare Center is a proposed use located at 5242 Salem Road, tax ID 0028019. It's on 5.14 acres. The Flume is a development node. The current zoning is now neighborhood commercial. It's still in the Salem overlay tier 2, and it's in the established suburban core, which would support both the Flume and the neighborhood commercial zoning. Located in the Yellow River watershed in District Commissioner 4, and our owner and petitioner is Ms. Gladys Lee. And I won't go over the history again. It's pretty much the exact same thing that we did for the rezoning. And again, the Planning Commission approved the conditional use permit on 9/4. And they had one added condition that the applicant provide the CCLC state license and proof of the required 10 hours of training for employees. And this is something that they typically have to provide to get the business license from us anyway. The site plan analysis is the same as was previously discussed, so I won't read through every one of them again. The applicable section is section 510-210 for daycare child, which is included in your packet, so I won't read through those either. And in conclusion, the applicant's intent is to operate a 24/7 child daycare center with employees coming in for day and night shift. Staff is of the opinion that the child daycare center is appropriate at this location. Staff recommends that should the Board of Commissioners recommend approval, should the Board of Commissioners approve the conditional use permit request to operate a child daycare center, that the approval be with the recommended conditions. And should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for a child daycare center, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and the offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. I'm going to go ahead and read the recommendations into the record. So, one, to the owner's agreement to the following: compliance with Division 460 Salem overlay of the Newton County zoning ordinance. B, you limit the number of total occupants to that set by Newton County Fire Services. C, any residential uses will have to cease with a new commercial daycare. D, provide a copy of your right from the start license and also provide it to us before obtaining the business license. And you also have to maintain it. E, provide a sprinkler inspection to Newton County Fire Marshal and Development Services and must be approved prior to the release of the business license. F, complete an annual fire inspection for Newton County Fire Services. G, maintain compliance with section 510-210 of the zoning ordinance. H, prior to any construction, addition, or removal of walls, applicant must apply for all required building permits. I must have an approved play area surrounded with a 4-foot tall fence before the issuance of a business license. J, provide appropriate ingress and egress to be approved by GDOT. K, obtain environmental health approval before the issuance of a business license as applicable. And I, no farm animal or petting zoos allowed on the property without the appropriate permit. And the pictures are pretty much the same. We have our aerial view. R2, well, it's now commercial zoning. Salem Overlay Tier 2. Flume is a development node. Yellow River Watershed. District 4, it's located in. Established suburban cores are our character area. And of course, we have our survey, the same identical floor plan. And these are just similar pictures that we viewed previously. And if there are any questions for staff, Madam Chair, this is also a public hearing.
We'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There will be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor? If you would state your name and address, please, for the record.
Hello again. Gladys Lee for the conditional use permit for 5242 Salem Road. I did have a question. I was looking at the conditions. At the end of the planning meeting a couple weeks ago, they added a stipulation, something about the hiring people and training. I didn't get an understanding what that is exactly. Yeah, they don't give a state license. I have to get something from planning before I can get something from them. It's like you all, they want theirs and you want yours. Everybody wants it at the same time. Okay, no, but I was talking about where it said hire people with 10 hours of training or something like that. That's a state requirement. And the training is over a 12-month period. But are you saying hire the people before I get the license, or I'm confused? Oh, okay. Is that one of the conditions to get the license? Yeah, for right from the start, but are you saying it's a requirement to get the business license before I get the business license? It would depend on what state is required. So it differs depending on what you do. So we can walk you through that. Right. I know. I was just asking, are you wanting me to hire people and train them 10 hours before I get a business license? That's what I'm asking. It's not a state requirement. I'm asking it. You put it as a condition. So I'm wondering the condition to get the business license. Okay. Okay. But other than that, like I said, I've been doing the childcare there. I was asking for the permit. I've received actually an abundance of phone calls from parents, you know, either at the school across the street or whichever, in order to try to provide childcare for the kids. And I do, as he mentioned, I do special needs kids, and I work. My daycare is 24 hours as well. I'm retired law enforcement, and I was a single mother raising 4 kids while I worked for DeKalb County. So for the sheriff's department, I was a deputy. So I chose to do 24-hour care because it was hard finding childcare, as I always worked shift work. And I'm also a retired foster parent. I fostered for 17 years. So my need has really been to help kids of whatever their background is. That's been my ministry, is with children.
Okay.
That's
Thank
it for
you.
me. All right.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor?
That portion of the hearing has now closed. We'll hear from any that will be opposed to this request. You are invited to come forward and address the board. You'll be allotted 10 minutes to speak to the board in opposition. If you do come forward, please provide your name and address for the record. Madam Chair, there are none in opposition, so that portion is closed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank the young lady for her service to the community for providing it. I think 24-hour daycare. And you're right, it's hard to get somebody to keep some kids, especially reasonable. So having said that, Madam Chair, I'd just like to make a motion with to approve with the staff recommendations.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. So that motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next petition this evening is a future land use map amendment, FLU 25-000004. It's located at 3396 Highway 212. Tax ID is 0032037E. It's located on 1 acre. The existing land use map is rural residential, and the proposed future land use map is commercial. That's what they're requesting to amend the flume to. The existing zoning is AR, agricultural residential. Proposed zoning will be highway commercial. Character area is emerging suburban, which supports both the flume and the zoning currently. It's in the South River watershed, located in Commissioner District 1. The current owner is GA Petro Operations, LLC, and our petitioner is Ragupal Damidi. Just a brief history. On May 8, 2025, a minor plat was approved to subdivide 1 acre from 615 County Line Road to create 3396 Highway 212, which is the current parcel we're looking at. In July 27th, Planning Commission meeting was canceled. It was held again on September 4th, where the Planning Commission recommended approval of this flume amendment by a vote of 4-0, and there was no opposition at that meeting. And the applicant's intent is to amend the flume from rural residential to commercial in order to rezone to highway commercial. And this parcel will be used for a septic system and a detention pond when it's combined with 3400 Highway 212 to establish a convenience store with gas pumps and a restaurant. So per the applicant, the restaurant concepts would include Little Pizza, Godfather Pizza, or Mick and Joe's Chicken. So the restaurant will offer limited dine-in and take-out, and there will not be a drive-through. So in conclusion, the applicant's proposal will require, would require the future land use category in the zoning district to be changed so that both properties can be combined. The proposed flume amendment to commercial for the parcel is appropriate with the policies and intent of the comprehensive plan. There are no conditions placed currently on the future land use map amendment since it's only a planning tool for future requests. However, should the board approve the amendment, the applicant will have to file for a rezoning petition and come before the board again, at which time conditions can be applied. So this is an area of use. This is the existing store that they have there. I think it's the antique shop. This is the minor plat they completed to subdivide out this parcel with a star on it, and that is the parcel we're looking at today to amend the flume. Basically, what their intent would be to combine the two parcels so they can have the septic system over here. Current zoning is agricultural residential. So the current flume is rural residential, and that's what we're aiming to change today. Watershed is South River, Commissioner District 1, emerging suburban character area. This is the minor plat that was approved to cut out that same triangular parcel. So currently this is what is there. It's an antique store. And just to give you some perspective, the property that we're looking at today to amend the flume is right adjacent to it. It's currently undeveloped, but that is where they're looking to locate the septic and the detention pond for when they develop or redevelop this antique store. So this is a concept plan of what we're looking at. So you've got the existing store, which will be removed, but they're showing where the gas canopies will be, convenience store and restaurant, parking, and then we have like the septic drain field, septic, and of course the detention pond. So again, this is just a concept plan to show what their intentions are should the flume amendment and the rezoning be approved. This is a concept or a 3D elevation or rendering of what they're proposing to put there. And if there are any questions, if not, Madam Chair, this is a public hearing, yes.
Commissioner Long.
Did we just do this property?
Not this property, ma'am.
Did we not do one just like this one?
We did others on 212. It was where the pot store was. That was the last one we did. I think at Highway 36 and 212.
JC and I are having deja vu over here.
Well, we've been on 212 before, yes.
We'll now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There'll be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor tonight? Well, that portion of the public hearing is now closed.
We'll now hear from those opposed to this request. All those opposed to the request are also invited to come and address the board. You will be allotted 10 minutes for those speaking in opposition. If you will, when you approach the podium, please provide your name and address for the record for those in opposition. Madam Chair, there are none. That portion is closed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This time I'd like to make a motion to approve flume change FLU 25-000004 with staff recommendations, of course.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Our next petition this evening is a conditional use permit. It is CUP 25-000010. The proposed use or intent is for a special events facility for Central Community Outreach Church. This is located on Williams Road, tax ID number 0061-0248. Parcel is on 6 acres. The future land use map is industrial. Current zoning is general commercial. The character area is the live-work corridor and supports both the flume and the current zoning. The watershed is the city pond. It's located in Commissioner District 5. An owner is a Central Community Outreach Church, Inc. Petitioner is Jason Parker from Peak Steel Contractors. There's a brief history. July 22nd, Planning Commission meeting was, of course, canceled. It was heard again on September 4th, where the Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 4-0, and there was no public opposition to this. The subject site, it's a 6-acre lot on the south side of William Road. It is currently undeveloped, and to the southeast is the Central Community Outreach Church. And the city of Covington limits borders the northeast and south sides of the property. The applicable section would be section 510-595, which is a special events facility / indoor recreational facilities commercial. This is included in your packet, so I won't read through these, but these are the requirements that they've had to meet in order to do this. The site plan analysis as submitted on June 9th, staff would offer the following. So the entrance will actually be on Williams Road. They're proposing an 11,920 square foot event center. There's an existing church, the Central Community Outreach Church, to the southeast. So the proposed parking lot area will be for approximately 100 spaces. There's a future staging viewing area, which will be 30 by 60 feet. There's a drop-off canopy area in the front, patio and fire pit area to the side. They're gonna have a detention pond to the north, and there's one existing to the east of the current center. There's also existing septic to the rear. So the event center will be for church-related functions and events, social gatherings, fellowship opportunities, special occasions, and events. There's a phase 1, which will be the event center and all grading and utility work, and then the phase 2 will be the event stage and a small amphitheater. So the proposed site plan, it meets or exceeds all the minimum requirements for the property development standards according to the Unified Development Ordinance of the county. This is just a concept site plan of what they're proposing. So in conclusion, staff is of the opinion that the special events facility is appropriate at this location. Staff recommends that should the Board of Commissioners recommend approval of the conditional use permit request to operate a special events facility, then the approval be with the recommended conditions. So should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for a special events facility, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in a letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A CUP 25-000010 is to allow a special events facility to be located on map and parcel 00610248. B, comply with all Newton County fire codes. C, provide appropriate ingress and egress to be approved by the Newton County Transportation Department. D, obtain all permits required from Development Services, Fire Marshal, Transportation Department, the City of Covington Water Department, and the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Committee. And these are conditions we have for the special uses event. We have E, any outside reception areas shall be held either in the patio area or the future stage area as shown on the concept plan. F, no fireworks are allowed for any special event unless it is a church event and a permit is obtained. G, adequate parking shall be provided for all guests as shown. H, guest occupancy shall be set by the fire marshal. I, security personnel will be provided at each event to direct traffic while vehicles are entering and exiting the property during events. J, all outside events will end at 11 p.m. This does not include clean up and take down of the event. K, adequate planted buffers shall be provided as needed. I must obtain and maintain a business license. M, obtain all permits required from Development Services, Fire Marshal, Transportation Department, City of Covington Water Department, and GSWCC as applicable. And N, obtain environmental health approval before the issuance of a business license as applicable. So this is the parcel here. It's located on William Road. There's a small section here that is still in the county. Everything in pink is the City of Covington. So the church is currently located here, and this is where they're looking to place the proposed event center. But they will actually use Williams Road to get in and out from there. The current zoning is general commercial. The flume is industrial. It's in the City Pond watershed, Commissioner District 5. These are just street view pictures of the current parcel. It's undeveloped. These are just more site pictures. You have the church in the background. We have our survey. This is the concept plan that they're proposing. So the future stage and viewing area is going to be here, which is going to be part of phase 2. They've shown their parking. We have their detention pond, which will be to the front of the parking lot. And of course, this is the facility, the 11,920 square foot facility that they're looking to erect. This is just a floor plan concept of the center where they're showing the event spaces, the lobby, the warming kitchen, green room, restroom, the bride ready room. And of course, we have an elevation of what the building is going to look like. These are front and side elevations for the event center that they're proposing. And this is just a 3D concept of what it's going to look like. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, Madam Chair, this is also a public hearing.
Thank you. We will now open the public meeting. All those in favor of the request are invited to come address the board. There will be a total of 10 minutes for those speaking in favor. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor tonight? Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Jason Parker. I'm with Peak Steel Contractors. Our address is 1130 Commerce Drive in Madison, Georgia. I'm here today on behalf of Central Community Church. It's located on City Pond Road. This will be a new construction project that's on an undeveloped parcel that's already owned by the church. As mentioned previously, it will be 11,920 square foot building that will provide adequate parking for events, special occasions, socials, and fellowship functions. The building will be constructed according to all local, state, federal building codes that apply to the building, as well as all requirements by the fire marshal. Currently, there is adequate access to the parcel that has its own driveway that will come in off of Williams Road. As the general contractor, as well as the church, we understand and agree to the conditions that have been set forth in this packet for a conditional use permit. Central Community Church has been in its current location for 21 years, is a large part of this community, and has grown tremendously. They are a very thriving church. They've actually recently started 2 services on Sundays, and they have recently had an event for women that encompassed 300 to 400 ladies at that event. This building will be an extension to their existing campus. As we know, there's a tremendous amount of growth that's on the Alcovy Road and the town center area. So this is an improvement that will help in this area, as well as for any community functions, but mostly for church functions as they continue to grow. One thing that I would also like to mention that has come to light just recently within the last week is that there is a road improvement that is going to be taking place on Williams Road as a result of all of the growth in this particular area. We received a plan from an appraiser, the church did, showing that from the center line of the road, there will be encroaching 50 feet into this parcel, which will decrease the acreage by 0.64 acres. We had previous discussions with Chester Clegg, the Director of Transportation, about this, but this will also allow us to work and coincide with the road improvement work as we're working along Williams Road to improve that parcel of the land. So, thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor tonight?
Hey, my name's Tommy Haley. I live at 140 Orchard Drive. About 10 years ago, my 3-year-old daughter asked me to take her to church, and she wanted to go to Central because she had some friends there. Today, 13 years later, we are still there, and it's been a great church for us to be a part of. I've seen this church during the COVID years build a sanctuary that when most churches were shutting down. And I use the old cliche, if you build it, they will come. And come they have. Not only have they built the sanctuary, they opened a satellite church out on 81. Pastor Allen's here with that. And I just want to say that adding this special events facility to me will not only help the church, but they engage so much in the community. It will be something the community will be proud of too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
That portion of the public hearing is now closed, and we will now open the hearing to hear from any opposed views. If there are any opposed, you are invited to come forward and speak for 10 minutes to address the board. And when you do come forward, please provide your name and address for the record. You may now come forward. Madam Chair, there are none. That portion is closed.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we approve CUP 25000010 with staff conditions. And from what I understand, we are approving phase 1 and phase 2 tonight, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that motion passes.
Andre?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
and
you.
That concludes our hearings this evening.
Thank you.
Hold up. What about Commissioner 3? We didn't hear him.
I'm sorry, I'm in favor.
Are you in favor of that motion?
Okay, thank you. Did you get that? Okay.
Madam Chair, we're on number 13, which is our public comments. At this time, we are allowing the public to come forward for any topics that are affecting Newton County and their respective districts. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to come forward and speak. After 3 minutes, we will ask that you conclude your time so that the next speaker can come forward. If there are any public comments at this time, this is the open forum. Madam Chair, it doesn't appear that we have any comments for this evening, so we can open for the board, and we will start with District 1, Commissioner Stan Edwards, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any comments this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson?
Just a quick comment. I'd like to thank the Madam Chair, the County Manager, and the Board of Commissioners for allowing me to accept that little plaque.
I don't have anything this evening other than God bless America and our county.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify what maybe some confusion regarding the meeting and advertised for, I guess, District 3 on the west side. I guess this meeting has been held by some members of the community. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend through a prior commitment. For something that was not scheduled by the county. I just want to assure the people, the residents, that myself and the county staff will be putting together a community meeting so we can discuss the use of facility and some other topics.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.